I've just played possibly one of the worst concerts I've ever played in my life. And to be honest, this is a very selfish video for me to make because it's more for me than for anyone else. And it's for the reason that, when you play, everything goes probably as bad as it could go. I mean, it could always be worse, but you sort of need recordings like these to restore your faith in playing the instrument. You need recordings like these to re-inspire you, to get back to practicing after you do poorly in the exam, you fail the audition, things like this. You need these sort of recordings to have up your sleeve to remind you why you play, to remind you of what you can accomplish if you keep on going. And so, although it's for me to remind myself of this, I can guarantee that if you listen to these recordings, not only will you be inspired yourself, but you'll learn a thing or two. And I think you become a much better violinist doing this. You hear of violinists, for example, Zukerman. He always talks about when he went to New York, he went to 3 concerts a night, not 3 concerts a week, not 3 concerts a month, 3 concerts a night, right? Because there was always Carnegie Hall, there was always other concerts on every night. And doing that, building up this sort of knowledge of the repertoire, knowledge of the violinists, I think it makes for a much, much better, much more well-rounded musical experience. And so without further ado, let's get into the first recording. I need to start recording here. There, now you should be able to see the screen. First up, actually, no, let's do this one first. So, I played in the concert today the other Vinyasa Polonaise, the one in A major. And so this is Zukerman playing the Vinyasa Polonaise in D major. This is a clip from his debut recital in New York. So Zukerman, I really love Zukerman. I don't know if I've mentioned that enough on the channel, but he went from Israel. Pablo Casals, the cellist, and someone else saw him, and they picked him up from Israel, and they said, "Come to New York and study with Galamian." And so he studied with Galamian. He won the Leavenworth competition, which was a big deal back then. I mean, still is now, but you don't hear as many winners being as famous as Perlman or Zukerman. And he went on tour, lots of tours. Germany, played all the UK famously with the English Chamber Orchestra. But then he came to do what would sort of solidify him as a real top violinist, which was a complete sold-out solo recital in New York. And so this is one of the pieces he played for that. Unfortunately, I don't have the rest of the footage. I don't know where it is. I don't know what he played. But I know this is a debut by a very young, does it have the date here? No. By a very young Zukerman. And so we're just going to take a little listen. This is Shem from the future right now, and I will keep this very short and sweet. But YouTube decided that I wasn't allowed to upload this recording of Zukerman onto the platform. So unfortunately, we have to skip this and start with the next recording. Okay, you can and you should listen to that in your spare time. I'll leave all of these in the description somewhere. Definitely will. But that is that's Zukerman, man. I just can't believe it. I cannot believe that sound every time I hear it. Now, on to the next recording. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. We'll go with this. Now, this is the Tchaikovsky Concerto. Of course, everyone knows the Tchaikovsky Concerto. Not so many people now listen to Milstein, which is unfortunate because Milstein was undoubtedly one of the greatest violinists just of all time, ever. And Milstein also has this sound, amazing sound, as Zukerman. But what is the highlight for me in Milstein's playing is how unbelievably effortless it is. I mean, he plays no shoulder rest. Oh, tap the mic. He plays no shoulder rest, and the violin just floats there as he plays everything perfectly. He barely uses his head. He shifts flawlessly, and you'll be able to see that when I start playing this recording, that he just manages to make this sound so easily. Even the hardest pieces just seem like nothing to him. Let's have a listen. So this is the opening. He plays a harmonic at the top. He was a fan of harmonics. I think he played a harmonic at the top of Mendelssohn, started Mendelssohn, dun 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 dun, as a harmonic. And yeah, I remember watching this clip about him, and he gets asked, and he goes, they go, why do you play a harmonic? Because no one plays a harmonic there. No one plays that fingering that he plays. And he goes, it's in tune. Which, fair enough. But he had ways like this. There's another one where he plays also a different bowing to the start of Mendelssohn. It was like a retake or something. Something like that. And someone asked him, and they go, Mendelssohn knew a lot about bowings. And Milstein just sits there, cool as anything, and goes, not as much as I do. I thought that was so funny. To say he knows more than Mendelssohn. I mean, which, look, there's no way to compare it, but likely Milstein does know more than Mendelssohn. Who was the violinist? It's so easy for him. I mean, you'll see really when we go to something more virtuosity, I suppose. I mean, even this. No, let's find something that really shows off how effortlessly he can play. I mean, it's hard to find something that he makes look hard because it's just so easy for him. Another harmonic. I mean, come on. Let's find like the cadenza. Shall we? I mean, even like he's just too easy for him. I mean, most other violins would go. But Milstein, not Milstein. Just sits there, calm as anything. I mean, come on. And the shifts. Yeah, that's phenomenal. It's unbelievable. This is a recording you should definitely listen to. Must listen to. It's very lucky that we have footage from '63. But Milstein, just the effortlessness with which he plays is absolutely astounding. And if you listen to this is one of the most inspiring violinists, and it makes you want to play like this, and it makes you want to play better, and it also helps you play better because you get a grasp of this sound that these violinists had, and you try to replicate. You'll never be like Milstein, you'll never be like Zukerman, you'll never be like any of these violinists, but if you can grasp a little bit of how does he do that, that one thing, that one little bit of sound, if you take bits of these from all these violinists, then it really contributes to a better playing. Now, for this, I'm sure everyone knows Hadelich. This is a recording not for the effortlessness, not for the tone, especially. Not that any of this is bad on Hadelich's recording, of course, it's phenomenal. But it's the virtuosity, it's the sparkling, spotless, clean tone that just is incomprehensibly clean and brilliant. And Hadelich talks about this in his masterclass series about what makes a clean tone. That's also an interesting thing to watch. But it has to be very in tune, of course. It has to have very little sound between the notes, which I thought was an interesting insight. Little sound between the notes. You go from listening to the notes to listening between, listening to all these little bow noises, these shifting noises, these little sort of creaks at the starts and ends of notes, very closely between the notes. And this is what makes his playing as clean as this. Let's go down here. What? And harmonics that fast. Yeah, it's so flawless. I think let's listen to the finale. Oh no, it's not at the end, is it? Yeah, wow. Just wow. No other words for that. Let's move on. Now, the next one we put in Spotify, because this is a odd one out. This is an album of recordings by Eugen Isai, which is crazy to think about because, I mean, you can read the date, 1912 to 1919, which means all of this is over 100 years old. For me, I don't, like, you think about recordings as old, right? You think about, like, there's some old, like, Heifetz is old. But when it hits, hang on a minute, this audio recording is 100 years old. To me, that's just like, how is that even possible? How does that make any sense? 100 years old audio. Like, what? And so we'll take a listen to first the Mendelssohn, right? This is with piano, by the way. Now, this Mendelssohn, trust me when I say I've listened to a lot of Mendelssohn concertos. I mean, you can take this. We look at Mendelssohn, violin, right? Let's count. Let's just count. 1, 2. There's one in here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, if you count Heifetz again. 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, and Kreisler. 14, at least, Mendelssohn concertos. And I can say confidently, this is absolutely the most stunning, cleanest third movement I've ever heard. And it's over 100 years old. I'm going to have to turn this off, aren't we? Let's just listen. You'll have to mind the audio, okay? It is 100 years old. What? Let's just. One more time. Just to check that it really happened. I mean, do I need words to describe it? Like, I can't believe it. I couldn't. The first time I heard that, I remember, I couldn't, like, I can't comprehend how on earth it's that good and that old, and how on earth I've never heard anyone play it better than that. Now, of course, better is subjective, of course, always. I think Isai is phenomenal. But one of my favorite Isai recordings, I mean, this is a classic piece, Humoresque by Dvorak, and it really showcases, I mean, we looked at Zukerman for this sound, this power, sort of. Milstein is completely effortless. Hadelich was flawless and cleanly polished. But Isai has, to me, he has one of the highest levels of that sort of golden age sound, elusive sort of sound that people talk about all the time. I mean, some people like to talk about it just to say, oh, the violinists aren't as good. The golden age was better. No one's good these days, which I don't think is true. Of course, there are very good violinists these days, but I think what is valid of what some of those people, golden age people, say is that you cannot disregard recordings from this era. You have to listen. You have to become familiar. I mean, we have the whole internet. Spotify is free. Tomes and tomes. All albums like this. There's recordings of Sarasate. There's recordings of Isai, Menhu, and Heifetz. I mean, what's that French guy's name? I forgot. But there's recordings of very, very old recordings. And I think to be a violinist who only knows Hilary Hahn or Ray Chen's Sibelius and Mendelssohn concerto, I think it's pretty disgraceful, to be honest. Of all these centuries of music and violinists, and you're going to pick up the instrument and not bother to familiarize yourself with anything. Just say, oh yeah, whatever. Oh yeah, I like the Sibelius concerto. Yeah, yeah. Sure, you like the Sibelius concerto. It's a great concerto. But to not know these other pieces, to not know the other works by Sibelius, to not know the other works by Mendelssohn, to not know the other works by any of these composers, or the violinists who have played them, is to do a disgrace to not to the music or the violinist, but to yourself. Because if you're trying to learn, you should really take this into consideration. But that's enough of like angry ranting. Let's just take a listen to a bit of this. So unbelievable. So those are all the recordings we're going to go through, but now I have something else up my sleeve. So this is our school community. Now in here we have this great feature called the library, which we're expanding, and it's going to have videos on all of the repertoire that you need to know. Everything you need to know, everything you should know, and all the recordings that you should listen to will be in here with the scores for easy access, so you don't have to spend time, because recordings are an absolute pain to find on Spotify. Like if you look up Izai, right, you go to the albums, you can't find Izai playing. Like you can't find it. What are you supposed to look up? What do you look up? Izai recordings? Yeah, then even it doesn't come up, right? And so things like this are just painful to find, and so I put them all in one place. You can see, and they're in rough order of what you should know. There's also chamber repertoire. So I just get in. This is going to be a great place for everyone to be together. The prices are lowering because we haven't built everything yet. Oh, okay, there goes the internet. Oh, and there goes the video. Those were some recordings, hopefully inspiring, motivating. I mean, I feel better already having listened to them about that dreadful concert. Have a good night.